Hello and welcome to Sports Talk with Sam Darley. Today I'm going to talk about the recent moves in free agency, and March Madness is coming up, and so is Major League Baseball. Lots to talk about, but I'm going to start with the NFL free agency. Recently, the Houston Texans signed Vince Wilfork, a big run stuffer. I'm hoping that move will pan out for my Texans. I know he's 33 years old, a nice 2-year deal. It's going to be fun to see him and J.J. Watt on the same D-line, that's for sure. How much does he have left in the tank, realistically? I mean, like I say, he's 33 years old, and a big guy like him, I mean, you can't beat Father Time. But maybe with the D-line, maybe with a guy like J.J. Watt, he'll have a big monster year, and excuse me, and will assist with that run defense. They also made a move on the offensive side of the ball by acquiring wide receiver Cecil Shorts. I've gotten to watch Cecil in his days in Jacksonville. When healthy, he could be a dynamite slot receiver, and I think that was a big need for the Texans. So 2 needs have been filled with that. They also signed Raheem Moore. That's another need, free safety. Kind of disappointed they didn't get Kendrick Lewis back, but wish him nothing but the best in Baltimore. Good player. It seems like that's where most of the former Texans seem to go. We're going to go to Baltimore. Now it's probably going to be going to Denver with Gary Kubiak. Today the Dallas Cowboys signed Greg Hardy. I don't think that's going to help. Well, I mean, obviously, his last year in the league before his incident. He had a monster year, and I'm just going to say that I don't agree with any team signing him. I think he paid off his girlfriend. Yeah, there probably was a settlement in the case. We don't know. To me, he was indicted, and then the charges were dropped, and listening to the facts about the case, the fact he threw his girlfriend by the hair on the couch of loaded automatic weapons, just the details. I mean, it's kind of baffling to me why a team would sign him. I mean, I know like I said, he was a elite pass rusher before the incident. I'm sure he'll be one if he's not banned or suspended. He'll probably be gone for at least. If the NFL does hand down a suspension on him, it will probably be either 4 or 6 games. Excuse me. It'll be interesting to see how he fits with the Cowboys. I mean, obviously their D-line struggled much last year. I think they were 28th in the league in rushing the passer, so I'm sure he'll help that. But but free agency will continue up until the NFL draft. We're still going through the pro days, and quarterbacks starting to do that pro day. Marcus Mariota did his about, I think, a week or so ago. Let me just say this about quarterbacks. When you get a quarterback like a Mariota or Brett Hundley or Bryce Petty, a kid that comes from a one-read dink and dunk system, which is, I honestly think that's where the college game is heading, and it's going to make it difficult to evaluate these quarterbacks as pros. So essentially, taking quarterback in the draft, you just don't know anymore. I mean, the last quarterback that you knew was going to be a franchise quarterback and everyday starter was 2012 with Andrew Luck. That's not to say that Petty and Mariota won't be good quarterbacks. I'm sure they will, but they need it's like an article I read where Bruce Arians talked about the quarterback position, where he said these kids that do these one dink and dunk type systems, these quick offenses, there's no leadership there. There's no reading the defense. Obviously, when you're making one read and you're not going through progressions, you're not setting protections, you're not you're not huddling all the time. And I agree with him where he says they have to relearn the position. And so that's why these teams are picking up quarterbacks like Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Hoyer, and the Texans picked up Ryan Mallett again. I doubt they pick quarterback in the draft. And I honestly don't think they should take quarterback in the draft. It's a very thin quarterback pool. I think there's only 4 quarterbacks worth drafting that you could start later on in the season if you had a contention, or you could run the risk of starting him early. But that like I said, you're getting quarterbacks now where you have to sit them for a year or two because they're having to learn the position again. So what do? You pick up a veteran, and you hope that veteran can keep the team going in a good direction. Like Brian Hoyer. Excuse me for a second. Hoyer, I think Hoyer and Mallett is going to be a very intriguing quarterback competition in Houston because they both played under Bill O'Brien. They both know the system, and obviously now recently I've heard a lot of I doubt the Saints. And the Saints have said they're not going to trade Drew Brees, but they're really bad in the cap shape, and they really don't have, besides Brandon Cooks and Mark Ingram, they don't have much talent on the offensive side of the ball. And a 36-year-old quarterback, he's going to probably need more playmakers. The Saints aren't known for running the ball anyway, so I don't know why they decided to pick back up Mark Ingram when they're really not really committed to running it. I think if they were committed, then Ingram would be a good running back, but we'll see. And then there's talks about Phillip Rivers playing out his contract in San Diego. And there's also rumors about him being traded. I doubt he'll be traded. I've heard rumors the Texans are interested in Phillip Rivers. That would be a heck of a team next year if Houston got Phillip Rivers with Foster and Hopkins and a number 2 wide receiver in the draft. Like I said, going back to Cecil Shorts, I don't see him more than a number 3, like a slot type guy. Excuse me. But I do think the Texans have done some good moves. They've cut 2 aging players. They've filled up almost every need that they've had to have. And then there's the draft. And there's plenty of wide receiver talent out there that can help take the pressure off DeAndre Hopkins and help a guy, whether it's Mallett or Hoyer. Hoyer did some good things in Cleveland. Maybe he'll rediscover himself in Houston and with O'Brien. Who knows? We're a long way from the season. We're a long way from training camp, and we're a long way from the preseason. But, and we're also a long way from determining who's going to be quarterback in what team. But the quarterback position is really going to be really thin, if you think about it, in the coming years. Because a lot of these colleges are running, like I said, these dink and dunk, quick read, no huddle offenses. It's really hard to gauge a quarterback's strength and weakness by just looking at. You're essentially judging them by their arm talent, not by how well they lead their team, how well they control the huddle, how well they handle themselves in negative situations. I think the closest thing to a pro-ready quarterback in this draft is Jameis Winston. That's just my opinion. Moving on to March Madness. I don't think Kentucky's gonna lose. I really don't. They're big, they're strong, they're faster, they're more athletic, I think. They play as a team, play really well as a team. And when it gets down to crunch time, they can really shut you down defensively. I like them to run the table and go 40-0 and hold up that national championship trophy. But you never know in March Madness. There's been so many upsets over the years. It would be crazy, though, to think that they would get bounced before the Final Four or earlier. I don't see that happening. I think they're too talented of a team. The question is, who can beat them? I think the best team, I think the team with the best chance of beating them is Virginia. Just simply because when I've watched Virginia, they play they play close to lights out defense. And they play at a slow tempo, so they'll be able to control the game by playing good defense. And they'll have to out-execute Kentucky. That will be an execution game. Whoever can execute their half-court offense better will win that game. Duke, they lost last year to, Mercer in the first round last year, so, I don't see them as a threat. They're a good team, but you all saw last year they're prone to an upset. I think Duke will go to at least the Sweet 16 this year. There's a lot of good teams. It's gonna get crazy. I can't make correct predictions on March Madness because who can? I'm not filling out a bracket. I didn't fill out a bracket this year. Filled one out last year for the Quicken Loans bracket, but I decided it's just too crazy to do one, so I didn't do one. Yeah, I think Kentucky's a really, really good team. Like I said, they play well. They play well as a unit. They shut you down defensively when it matters most, and they really don't. They have their lulls. I've seen them a couple times, and I feel like if they have a lull, then that would open up the door for a team to beat them. But when they're on their game, they're close to lights out. So I think Kentucky will go undefeated and win the national championship. I don't get this whole past Kentucky teams like the one with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins could beat them. I don't get that. That was a different team, a different time, and they had different players. And this one plays to get. This is a team. They're deep. They're loaded. I think they could. It's not about. They're obviously they're one of the best teams in college basketball, and they have a chance to make history. Be a part of it. Excuse me. But I don't think they're gonna lose. I don't see it. And people are going, oh, whoa, hope Kentucky loses. Kentucky's not gonna lose. They're not. I am strongly on the side of